Awesome, guys. Welcome. Thank you for joining me for Facebook Live. We're going to be making tacos today. Has anybody gotten ingredients to cook along with me, or are you just going to watch and make fun of me when I make mistakes? Hopefully I don't cut off any fingers, as Scott just said. I think we'll be fine. I've been doing this a long time. Taco Tuesday is kind of my thing, even though it's Friday, so Fiesta Friday. We're going to start with the guacamole, and we're going to start with the salsa. I like to cut up all the tomatoes first, and then I start with the tomatoes, and then I basically put a section aside for the guacamole, and then I use the rest for the salsa. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put a bowl up here, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. So one of the cool things about cooking, or one of the most efficient ways to do cooking, is just to do everything in order, one step at a time. So what I'm going to do here is quarter all of my tomatoes. Awesome, Athena. So if you focus on just doing all the quartering first, you can just focus. You don't have to put the knife down. You don't have to move your hands around. All you're doing is chopping these guys into little quarters, and it'll make the next step a lot easier. So we want 5-ish tomatoes for the salsa and 1-ish tomato for the guacamole. Got these guys all cut up. I actually went shopping today, was definitely careful to maintain social distancing, and I got everything for this today. There were a couple of things, like I had a head of garlic, but everything else, tomatoes, avocados, lemons I got from my tree in the backyard, but everything else that I got for this, I got today. So stores do have stuff. And I'm just going to focus on cutting out the inside. Now this is, I think, what trips people up. If you want salsa that has unique or uniformly sliced cubes, julienne pieces, you want to get rid of the seeds. You can take the seeds and put them into a stock if you want, or you can just toss them, or you can just eat them if you're looking to snack on something. I usually just toss them. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh no, you're wasting food, but honestly, the seeds don't add very much flavor, and all they do is make everything over wet. You're going to just put way too much moisture into whatever you're cooking. You can also take the seeds if you don't have any for a garden, and you can actually get your garden started by fermenting the seeds for a couple of days. And then that works as well. And then that's one way to not waste so much. So right now, all I'm doing is focusing on getting rid of these seeds. Your store's out, Amanda, totally out. We're missing a lot of things like obviously toilet paper and toiletries, and strangely enough, paper plates and paper napkins and things like that, but tons of paper towels. So I'm actually kind of confused on some of that. So the reason I'm focusing on this is because I can just kind of go through, scoop all of these seeds out real quick, and get along with my life. Otherwise, like let me demonstrate. If I'm like, okay, I'm going to take out the seeds from this guy, and now I'm going to set that down, and now I'm going to take my knife, and I'm going to slice it. Now I'm going to chop it. Cool, and now I'm going to reset and scoop the seeds out of the next one. See, this just takes a lot longer because there's a lot of task switching happening. Not ideal if you want to get through something quick. If you focus on one thing at a time, everything will get done much quicker, and you won't be, jumping between tasks. You can just focus on one, get it done, move to the next. Now the one task that I won't focus on, or that I will kind of task switch for, is staying hydrated. Very important. Yeah, I went to Safeway. I went to Safeway here on Treat and Clayton Road. They had a lot of stuff. Their veggie section was actually pretty good. And then I went to the Safeway in Clayton, and they had basically everything that the other Safeway didn't have. So I was able to get jelly at the Safeway on Treat and Clayton, and then when I went to the Clayton Safeway, I got peanut butter because they didn't have peanut butter at the other Safeway. So it doesn't seem too bad for what I'm looking for. Also, they're rationing eggs. So you're only allowed to get 1 carton of eggs at the moment per checkout. I'm assuming if you check out and then walk back in and grab another carton, if you wanted to, you could. And they're not limiting it to, like, you could go get an 18 pack of eggs if you wanted. That could be your 1 carton if you go through a lot of eggs. They're just making sure that you're not grabbing the entire stock of eggs. Very interesting. Very, very interesting times right now. I am doing these Facebook Lives and YouTube Lives and all of that just because I figured this would be kind of a fun thing to get together and do. And if anybody wants to cook along with me, you're more than welcome to. So all of those are done. I can now set that aside and I can do all of my chopping. So the quickest way to chop these things down uniformly is now you can actually flatten these guys down. Sometimes they'll split, that's fine. Like the corners will split because you're taking a curved surface and flattening it out. That's all right. And you're going to take your fingers and you're going to basically make a claw like this so that your fingers are rounded inward and your thumb is always behind. There's no way that you can cut yourself this way. I mean, you could if you angle the knife the wrong way, but if you're always going straight down, it's very, very difficult to actually cut yourself. And then you're literally just going to slice, move your fingers back a little, slice, move your fingers back, and you're just going to get used to doing that. And then spin it 90 degrees, and then same thing. So I can actually talk to you and not look at the knife and still be perfectly fine and confident that I'm not going to cut myself. Now I can just focus on julienning my tomatoes, and then the more time you spend on this, like, you can basically decide how thin or how small you want your cubes to be. For salsa, for pico de gallo, for guacamole, things like that, I'm not too concerned with them being super, super small. If I'm making something like tabbouleh, I definitely focus on making sure that all of the tomato cubes are very small. Hey Robert, thanks man. Yeah, I've been cooking a long time. I was actually considering my YouTube channel is all aviation. I do a lot of aviation stuff on there, tutorials and for video games, simulators, and also aviation vlogs. So if you want to go check that out and kind of see what I've been up to, that's always fun. I've been kind of toying with the idea of putting together a cooking channel as well. There are a lot of people who are much better at cooking than I am, and I know that's kind of an excuse. Yet I haven't doubled down and actually done that yet. So you can see, you can make pretty short work of these tomatoes. And you can make a pretty good amount of salsa in a pretty short amount of time. And there is no speed. I've been cooking like this for, who knows, since I was 18, 20 years old, 18, somewhere in between there, like seriously cooking. If you're just getting started, just take it slow. There's really no difference other than time between me going through these things really fast, just because I'm comfortable and confident with it, and I've cut myself plenty of times, and you taking your time and just, flattening it out, slice, 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 slice. Like even this is still pretty efficient. I'm able to go a little bit faster than this, yet if I do this, I'm able to make sure that everything is more controlled. So the speed will come once you get more comfortable with doing this. And honestly, the hardest part when you start doing this is keeping your hand in a claw like this, because a lot of people like to, hold things down, and they like their fingers to kind of go out like this, and that's a recipe for slice, which is not fun. And I've done that plenty of times. But so you can go through these tomatoes pretty quick when you get good at it. And one way, if you're getting used to it or starting to learn, instead of taking your knife off the cutting board, just leave it on the cutting board and just rock it back and forth like this. And then you can literally just kind of push the tomato through it. And then your right hand or your knife hand, if it's your left hand, that's fine, just kind of goes at a steady pace and your other hand, the one that's holding the food, just kind of maneuvers whatever you're chopping. And as long as you keep your fingers rolled inwards, you're good. Works for everything. Cucumbers, parsley, tomatoes, anything that you need to julienne. This is the quickest way I found to be able to do it. Tori, I would love to bring some by. Unfortunately, I think that that's not allowed at the moment. But yeah, man, I love making salsa, guacamole, tacos. This is kind of a Tuesday ritual. It started a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, right up the street in Clayton. My sister and her good friend Hannah, who might actually be watching, but I'm not sure, I haven't seen her talking yet. We used to make tacos. I used to make tacos, and then Rachel and Hannah would go and get frozen yogurt, and then from there, we would watch American Idol with the family, and then after watching American Idol, Hell's Kitchen was on, which was what I wanted to watch. That's actually where I started learning to cook. Strangely enough, was watching Gordon Ramsay yell at people. I really, really enjoy when people know what they're doing to the point that it's hard to question them because they're so knowledgeable about their topic. Now my video looks like it's kind of freezing. I don't know if it's freezing for you as well. Let me know. Looks like it's coming back. I like it when somebody is so knowledgeable about their topic that it's hard to argue with them, and they're able to explain it to you. And in Hell's Kitchen, Gordon Ramsay just kind of screams at everybody. But if you watch his other shows, or at the time, if you watched his other shows, like the European shows, he had a show called The F Word. It was, he was a much more of a teacher to all the people, and he was explaining more about where food came from, you know, how to treat it properly, etc., etc. So I really got into that, bought one of his cookbooks, went straight into gourmet food, and made a pretty awesome salmon dish one night. And the rest is history. How's the video, guys? Video and audio still synced up? Because the video on my screen is going a little bit laggy, and I just want to make sure that that's not showing up on your end as well. How are you guys dealing with the stay-at-home, shelter-at-home stuff? Are you guys even doing that yet, depending on what state you're on or in, where you're watching from? Is that something that you are having to abide by, or are you guys in a state where you're still able to move around freely? And even if you are you still voluntarily sheltering at home? Awesome, Travis, thank you. Cool, Robert. I'll try and troubleshoot that. For me, it's basically been chilling at home, doing a lot of education, learning, reading books, all the stuff that I don't generally do when I'm too busy to do them. That's what I've been focusing on the past week. Also kind of planning these Facebook Lives, wondering if they are useful or fun. If y'all enjoy them, I'll keep doing them. I enjoy putting them together. I think it's a lot of fun to be able to be on this side of it. Cool. So now we got a ton of tomatoes in here, and what I'm actually going to do is move most of these. Actually, I'm going to move all of them into this smaller one for now. And the reason I'm going to put them all over here is because now we're going to do the avocados for the guacamole. Washington is voluntary? Cool. Oof, Tori, that sucks. I'm excited to find out the gender of the baby tomorrow, Tori. I'm guessing it's a girl. So you have me on record as saying that I think it's a girl. I think I commented on your post as well. Same thing with the avocados. You just want to go through and do one at a time. I like using a paring knife and just kind of really quickly slicing halfway through until you feel the seed, the stone, and then just kind of rolling the knife around. I'm not even moving my knife hand very much. I'm using my other hand to roll the avocado around. So slice down into the center, like so. You can feel the stone in the middle, the seed, and then just using my other hand here to kind of rotate it around so that the knife works its way through. And then all you do is split it, just turn it and split it open. Easiest way to pop open avocados. We'll see how ripe these guys are. They feel okay and they look great. We'll just see. Ooh, yeah, asthma. And this is not a fun thing for asthma. And then the easiest way to remove the stone, take a knife, very gently, you don't have to slam it down, just very gently, right in, and then same thing, turn it, pops right out. And then just use your fingers, one on each side, and just pinch it off, fall right out. And what I'm going to do for presentation is, this one looks like the prettiest stone. I'm just going to pop this one out and set it right there. These guys don't have seeds, so I'm going to put them there. This one, we'll go turn it and pop. And this one, you can also put it down on the cutting board and do the same thing if you don't want to risk slicing your hand. Again, I've been doing this for a long time, so I'm comfortable, and I've never missed doing that. Now, we're going to get all the avocado insides out into the bowl, and we're going to mash it. My favorite tool for that is actually a butter knife. Very, very hard to cut yourself with a butter knife. They're very, very dull. And you're just going to do 3 lines down long ways, 3 or 4 lines down the middle ways, and just again, focus. You're not putting the knife down. Just going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, through all of the avocado halves. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, sometimes I will do this with my actual knives, and my knives will poke out the other end. And I've never cut myself, yet I always find myself telling myself, why are you doing this with a sharp knife? Just go get a butter knife. Because it is pretty much impossible to cut yourself with one of these knives. Do, 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 do. Yeah, I haven't been listening to very many of the podcasts because usually for me, podcasts are when I am driving. I'll listen to podcasts when I'm going to work or when I'm driving into an appointment or something like that. So for me, it's just been a lot of reading, kind of going back and rereading some of the real estate books that I've started with. I had some cloth napkins somewhere, or cloth towels somewhere, and I don't know where I put them. They've kind of vanished. So sorry, I'm going to try and reuse the paper towels as much as I can. Then with the avocados, take a spoon and scoop. And the insides will come right out. Hey, Hannah. I still do Taco Tuesday. Tuesday is pretty much tacos for me. I try and make it, if not every week, it's regular. At least a couple times a month I'll do tacos on Tuesday. When the video starts getting choppy, does the audio also get choppy, or is the audio still clear with the video getting kind of screwy? Or do I stop talking when the video starts getting screwy? Just curious, because I'm trying to figure out if I can troubleshoot this or if it's just something I have to live with. In any case, that's that. So now I've got all of my avocados in here. I still have some of the tomatoes from when we scooped them out, but that's okay. I'm not super concerned. Before we crush all of the avocados, we're going to put in everything else that we need to that's going to get crushed with the avocados. So in this case, we're going to squeeze some lemons in there. I generally use 2 lemons for avocado, or for perfect. Awesome, Felicia, Travis, and Tori, thank you. I usually use 2 lemons for 1 batch of guacamole. And I use lemons instead of limes because limes are a little bit sweeter. So if you use limes with avocado, it actually starts making it taste a little bit weird. Almost too green, too fresh. Like, I know you want fresh guacamole, but it makes it taste a little bit too appley, if that makes sense. So I always use lemon. It's a little bit more acidic. And if you cut the lemons in thirds like this, generally speaking, all of the seeds are in the middle. So you kind of get to avoid seeds, and you can just squeeze these directly in. Quick little tip that I taught myself. And then from here, you can just cut around the seeds this way. And you can just squeeze them straight in. Now sometimes you will see a seed in the sides or in one of the halves that you've cut out, but they're super easy to just kind of pop out with a paring knife. And then with the center here, you can actually like just cut around the seeds like this, and they'll all be on the cutting board, and you can get like 90% of the juice out without any seeds in whatever you're cooking. Laura, it's actually Top Chief. I was talking about this earlier. A friend of mine made these for us. We used to be huge Halo fans, and the main character in Halo is Master Chief, and his primary weapon is a battle rifle, and so that's what this is, battle rifle, and then Top Chief. Although we do like to cook, so it's kind of a play on Top Chef. So yeah, great. So like here, again, is another example. One of these halves has a couple of seeds in there, but I can literally just kind of like brush them out with the paring knife, and now no seeds, I can just squeeze this in. No seeds in this. There are a couple of seeds in here, I can just kind of cut around them, like so. And I can actually probably just brush them out of the middle here. And I think we're good. Nope, one more. Swoop, swoop, and garbage. So that's a pro tip if you don't want to use a lemon reamer, or if you don't want to use a lemon press or whatever. Makes it a little bit easier to get the lemon juice out of the lemon without the seeds coming with it. These lemons are actually kind of fun. They're from my tree in the backyard. I have a ton of lemons. I've actually given them to one of my colleagues already. Given a 6, I think I gave him 6, 5 or 6. Cool, so we've got our lemon juice in here. What else do we need? We probably need some garlic. So I'm just gonna kind of mop this down a bit. There we go. Now garlic, I'm gonna use the small clove for this, and I just smash it down, very similar to the hummus. Get it smashed, chop it up. This ends up getting you a more pronounced garlic flavor. You're busting all of the cell walls, so all of the oils of the garlic are coming out, all the flavors coming out. And then if you hold your knife kind of like this and press the garlic down into the board, you'll actually kind of cream it. And it's really cool because you get a lot of garlic flavor out of less cloves. And it's super easy to clean up. What did that take, about 15 seconds? You can keep mashing it if you want. I'll do one more round here of mashing. And then I've got a nice little garlic paste that I can just go swoop in. And I was talking in the hummus video about why you don't want to just, I'm gonna go wash my hands on my knife. But I was talking in the hummus video about why you don't want to just toss them into a blender or food processor. The knife or the blades will actually cut through, and the cuts are too clean. So you do get a garlic flavor, but it's not as strong. It's not as garlicky. You'll generally have to use more garlic, and then you'll end up using too many cloves. Cool, so we've got garlic, lemon. What else do we want in here? I'm gonna put a little bit of cumin. Hey Rachel, how's it going? Just a little bit, just a dash. Hey Kat, what's up? And we're gonna go put in some salt, and the reason we're gonna put in some salt is because it actually helps the avocado masher or the potato masher do its job. And I don't know if it's in here. It is. Hey, how convenient. Is there anything else I want in here? No, because I want to fold those in. We're good. All right. So I'm going to move my spoon out, and I'm just going to take this and mash it. This is why we don't want to put the tomatoes in, because if you're just going to be mashing the tomatoes along with the avocados and the garlic. And then that's never fun. I like a mostly smooth but slightly chunky guacamole, so I'm just going to do this for a minute or so. And honestly, I think the potato masher slash avocado masher smash, whatever you want to call it, is the best way to do this. Nice smashed guacamole. From this point on, everything is just an addition. This is guacamole. It's garlic, avocado, and a little bit of lemon juice. The lemon juice will also keep the avocado from browning. Not overnight, unless you totally cover it with plastic and make it airtight. But it does way better than the lime juice as well because it's more acidic. That's another reason that I like using lemon juice as opposed to lime juice. Cool, can put that in there. I'm just gonna go rinse this and it's clean. How simple is that? Rinsed, all clean, I can leave it there. It can air dry. Cool, so what's next? Let's do the cilantro. I like cilantro. I actually really love cilantro. So I got a little bit more than what I called for in the recipe. This is about a cup of cilantro. Like 3/4 of a cup. And all you're going to do, I pick the leaves. I don't use the stems. It's not too difficult to pick the leaves off of the stems. You just use your fingers and pinch, 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 and they come right off. I'm going to just kind of put them out like this, and then as best I can, roll them up. And just kind of bundle them up like this and roll and roll and roll. And they'll become one little bundle like this. And you'll notice my hand is already in the proper claw form to go ahead and choppy, choppy, choppy. Right through. Now, if you have that aversion for cilantro that so many people seem to have, you can always substitute parsley if you'd like, or just leave it out. You know, these are all recipes. You don't have to follow them exactly. These are just what I use when I make my salsa guacamole. But if you don't like cilantro, don't put it in. Or make a batch with cilantro. Make a batch without cilantro first, and then add cilantro to whoever likes cilantro's guacamole. And then because you can chop this up and set it aside, and then when you're ready to serve, mix it in. It's that simple. And I do one long ways cut and then one crossways cut. And that's good for my cilantro. Use my bench scraper here because it'll get more of this off the cutting board and into the bowl. Very cool. Do. Yes, Rachel, it has been too long. Sister! Not everybody knows that you're my sister. That's why I called you Rachel. Now that you've broken the anonymity, I can do that and not get in trouble. So now I'm going to go ahead and scoop about three or four tablespoons of the tomatoes right into the guac. That's good. And next up is the green onions. So one of the things with the green onions, when you're chopping through these, if you're chopping out rounds, they tend to like to roll away because they're circular and they just kind of wheel off into the distance. If you don't want that to happen, a quick tip is to go through and just chop them all in half, lengthwise. Chop it like that. Turn this one over so they both curve the same way. And then just do that first to all of your onions. And make sure they're all curving the same way. And also make sure that you're layering them on top so that when you cut through, you're actually getting a good divide down the entire length of the onion. And curve the same way. So I'm basically making it so that all of these onions are kind of curving like this. So the cutting board is smiling at me. So like this. And like this. There we go. Last one. And we'll get you perfect. So now when I'm chopping through these or slicing through these, they're not going to roll away. They're all half moons basically. Half circles. So you just go same thing, make a claw right there, just chop down the onion. You'll notice I'm leaving the knife on the table and just rocking it up and down. Every so often I'm pausing to kind of regather the onion. All good. Straight into the bowl. Trying not to cry. Trying not to cry on live internet TV. Okay. Cool. And our guacamole is done once we mix this. Whew, those onions. Guacamole. Onions. Stop. Go away, onions. I don't want to cry. Before I scoop it into here, I'm actually going to give it a little taste. Pretty good. A little bit of salt. And I'm actually going to put in a dash of cayenne as well. Boop. Hey Martez, how's it going, man? So some of my YouTube subscribers are probably going to come in and be like, why is this guy who usually does aviation stuff doing a cooking video? And I don't blame them. Yet, the reason is, with all this shelter-at-home stuff that we're going through here in the States, and actually I guess around the world, in Canada and everywhere, I just figured this would be fun to throw together. Cool. Guacamole is done. And then one of the things I like to do is make it look a little bit more fun. Kind of wipe off some of this extra avocado from the seed. I'll pop the seed in the corner over here. And then I specifically got a piece of cilantro to stick in the corner over here. And look at how pretty that looks. So pretty. And then if you really want, you can put a little bit of cayenne sprinkle over it as well. And that's just for a little bit of an appearance. Makes it a little bit red. Cool. Guac is done. What I'm going to do is actually put a lid on this and toss it in the fridge. And let it kind of chill out and rehydrate. I don't deliver, Mom. No, I'm sorry. Although you're more than welcome to come over and have some if you'd like. So now we've got all these tomatoes and we've got a dirty bowl. So what I'm going to do is rinse the bowl out real quick and I'll be right back so that we can move on to the salsa. The cool thing about guacamole, avocado, all of this is if you get to it when it's still fresh, like you just made this guacamole, the bowl rinses out really quickly. If you have a shower spray faucet, that's it. Same bowl, all clean. There's a little bit of water at the bottom. I don't care. Salsa's gonna be good enough. Cool. And hey, look, our tomatoes are already chopped. How convenient. I'm going to use this bowl for the salsa, so I'm not super worried about getting all of the tomatoes out. There we go. Cool. So we got tomatoes. I'm basically going to try and do half and half tomatoes and onions. So stick that in there. Grab my white onion. I've already got the skin off. I've got the top off. If you cut the top off, you have something nice to lay it on, and it won't move when you're cutting through it. And then I always cut onions this way. They're way easier to manage later. Let's see, which one is the smaller one? This is the small one. All I do, take my blade, put it flat. One, not all the way through, about 3/4 of the way through, and then one a little bit higher. Again, about 3/4 of the way through. And then we're just going to go down, down, down. Make all these vertical cuts. You'll notice that onion pieces are coming out. That's all right. I don't mind. It's fine. And then we're just going to do the same thing we've done with everything else. On this guy here, he's a bit tall, so I am actually going to lift my knife up. And then I'm going to slice forward, 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 forward. And this is how you dice through an onion real quick. Onions diced. I can actually take the heel here, flatten it, dice it more. Cool story. Now I can slice through a little bit more. All good. Now I can actually cut down once on each side. Slice even more. Oh my God, I'm going to start crying again. There we go. That's all I'm left with. All the rest of the onion. Woo! It's on my cutting board. I swear I didn't cut myself. I am just crying because onion. What I really need to do is get a pair of ceiling eye goggles. Should have put my swimming goggles on. That would have been fun. The more like an alien you look, the better, the more fun cooking is, right? Cool. Onion's done. So now what I'm going to do is mix this up and see if it looks about like what I'm expecting. I don't know if you can see, but I have tears coming down my face. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Good mix of onions and tomatoes. We're going to do the same thing with our cilantro for the salsa. Just roll it up. Roll it up as best we can. All good. Fingers are already in a claw, chop through. One vertical. In we go. Where is my drink? Got my tequila right here. Salt with the tequila. Woo. Now we didn't have jalapenos, so I got a Fresno chili. A little bit hotter, but similar. If you roll it up like this, it's actually going to pop all the seeds off of that little skinny inside in the middle, the skinny centerpiece. We're just going to chop through the top. We're going to slice from the top down to the bottom on one side, and then you can actually open the onion up like this. You can actually, if you want, spicy salsa, just kind of do this and put some of the seeds in here, scoop them out. If you don't want, you can just empty it into the trash bin. Don't touch your eyes. And now, very similar to the tomato, with the pepper flat, you can actually take your knife, flatten it against the pepper, and just cut across like this. And you get all of that inner pith out into the garbage. And then we're going to chop lengthwise like this, get nice long spears. Get that one piece kind of curving around, there we go. Awesome. Turn it 90 degrees and chop this way. Cool beans. Peppers in. You can definitely use gloves, yes. I like to live dangerously. What can I say? Hey, Michael, what's up? More tequila. I do sell homes, yes. That is my day job. By night, I am a chef. By day, I am a realtor. Anybody want some market info? I can definitely give you market info. Market sucks. No, I'm just kidding. The market is great. It just depends on where you're looking. So here we go with the Serrano. I usually put 2 peppers in. One is generally not enough. I don't know why for the past couple of years I'll just throw peppers and peppers and peppers in here and the salsa never gets hot. So I've started adding 2 types of peppers, usually a Serrano and either a jalapeno or like that Fresno chili. And then I'll actually add cayenne pepper to actually make it hot because I use the peppers for the flavor because they're never spicy anymore. And same thing with this. You can take it and actually roll it out. And it's going to split, like the bottom here is splitting. That's fine. I'm going to put some of the seeds in to try and get some of the spice up. And scoop out the rest of the seeds. And then same thing. I can actually take the knife, flatten it against the pepper. And if I cut across the top like this, it's just going to get all that pith out. And just leave me with pepper. And I can toss that away. Here we go. Oop, more pith. Good way. Just chop down this way. Spin it 90. And julienne. This pepper smells hot, so maybe the salsa will be really good. There we go. Scoop into the bowl. What else we got? Lemon juice and we're done with the salsa. How long have we been streaming? We've been going for about 45 minutes. Perfect, because it's about 15 minutes to cook the meat. There we go. Get this all mixed in. Yeah, yes, sister. That's how you do it. And I don't have any limes, unfortunately. Unfortunately, no limes. Got a lemon tree, but no lime tree. All right, so right now I haven't added any salt to this yet, so it's going to just be tomatoes, onions, peppers, cilantro. Pretty good. Actually, it does have some heat, so I'm happy about that. And I'll show you my cool lemon trick again. Take the lemon, if you don't want any seeds, don't go right down the middle. Offset it by about 1/3. Slice off the outside. Slice off the outside on the other side. You might get a couple of seeds in this outside, but you can just kind of scrape them out. The rest of it's just juice. Same thing on here. Go about 1/3 out, slice down, 1/3 out, slice down. No seeds in this. No seeds in this. Got one little itty bitty piece of a seed in there. And then in here you can see all the seeds right in the middle. Well, I can see, I don't know if you can see. So what I can actually do is just kind of carve around, or just pop them out, however you want to do it. Now I can just squeeze these pieces directly into the salsa. I don't have to worry about a reamer. I don't have to worry about a lemon juice press. I can just squeeze out all the juice and toss it. Hey Lori, how's it going? Yes, Mom. You probably do have limes. You guys have a lime tree. I don't. I just have the lemon tree. Cool. So that's one lemon. Again, just like the guacamole, I generally put in 2 lemons for a salsa. Same thing. 1/3. You can see a couple of seeds that just popped out right there. Another 1/3. And all I have to do is just kind of scoop them out, and they come right out. You're not sitting there trying to, you know, mess around with getting seeds out of the bowl, using a reamer and having to clean it, all of that fun stuff that nobody likes to do. And just pop the seeds out as you need to. And then you can just squeeze all of this right into the bowl because there's no seeds. We call it efficiency if we want to sound like we're being professional. I like to call it laziness. I don't like doing dishes. Really don't like doing dishes. So I've tried to do everything I can to make things as easy as possible for myself. Thanks, Lori. That's why I'm putting these together. I love cooking, and it seemed like a couple people really enjoyed the hummus video that I put together, so I figured I'd just keep it going. I got one little seed fragment in there. So it's not 100% perfect, I'll admit, but 99% I'll do it. And I got nothing else to clean. Actually, I don't think that was from the lemon. I think I thought that one of the pepper seeds was a lemon seed. Oh well, cool. Get this all mixed together. We'll season it with some salt. I'm not going to use any black pepper in this because I think it's good enough. I am going to dry my hands off real quick. Put you there so I can use you later. You're going to want a pretty good amount of salt. Counteract the lemon. Do. Pretty good. Maybe just a little bit more salt. I could probably put a 1/3 lemon in there as well. But I'm just going to trust that while it kind of rests in the fridge, it's going to get more lemony. That does tend to happen. When you first mix stuff together, especially things like salsa or guacamole, the initial flavor isn't always exactly what it's going to taste like 30 minutes later, 15 minutes later. So it's very important that you kind of put it away and let all the flavors kind of mix together. Don't need you anymore. And I might need a bigger bowl for the salsa, but we'll see. Oh, fit. Oh no. Yep, I would probably be better if I got a bigger bowl. But I'm just going to try and shove it all down. There we go. Now what you could do if you want to make this look kind of fancy, if you saved one of the stems of one of the peppers, you can actually put it right in the corner or put it on top. I don't care. I just want to eat salsa and tacos. Cool beans. Toss this in here, let it cool down as well. All good. So I've got an induction cooktop over here. It's really nice. You just plug it into an outlet and you can turn it on. I'm going to go ahead and get this pan heating right now. We'll do high, start. I generally have cloth towels to do all of this drying. I don't know where I put them, so I'm using paper towels and trying to make them last as much as I can. So, before we get anything in here, obviously meat's going to go in here, seasoning, etc. I'm actually going to chop up the other half of my onion and 1 clove of garlic, give the meat a little bit extra flavor. So same thing, smash it down. Just chop through it real quick. Spin it as best you can, chop through it again. Good to go. And smash it. It just works way better than a garlic press, and you don't have to clean it. There's no grooves on a cutting board. It's a flat surface. Garlic is macerated. This also gets more garlic flavor out of the garlic, as I mentioned earlier in the video. Good to go. I'm not putting this in first. I'm actually just going to put it on the side for now. But the reason I smashed the garlic first is because the garlic is sticky. Now when I chop the onion, the oils and moisture from the onion is actually going to take up all of the garlic. This is starting to smoke a little bit, so I'm going to turn it to medium. Just kind of let it heat. Same thing as when we did it before. 1 chop here, about 3/4 of the way through, a little bit higher, 3/4 of the way through. And we're just going to roughly chop this onion. 1, 2. Hey. There we go. Flatten it, chop the rest of it down. Flattened again, keep going. This way I can put 2 slices on this side and 2 slices on this side. And I'm using all of the onion except for this little heel. My cast iron pan is smoking, which is perfect because now I'm going to put my onion in. Before I put the onion in, I'm going to get some oil in there. Use regular olive oil, don't use extra virgin. You're going to be cooking hot. Extra virgin will burn and everything will taste bad. And you really don't want to do that after you just made such awesome salsa and guacamole, right? Didn't think so. I'm actually going to put this on medium-high. Toss my onions in. If it's sizzling, you know it's hot enough. The cool thing with onions is as they cook, they kind of reduce down a little bit. They get smaller. And that's exactly what we want. Michael, you're welcome here anytime, man. Just let me know you're coming. Whew. A little bit of salt. They'll release more fluid that way. gonna let those cook for about, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. I don't want them to burn. They are gonna get a little bit golden, which is fine, but I don't want them to get black. That's too much. And I'm going to come over here, grab my meat. I didn't mean it that way. Awesome, Mom. Did you decide to do that because I was cooking, or did you guys just have the meat and everything around? Dude, Scott, beer 5, man. I need to catch up with you. How many tequilas have you had, though? Because I'm almost done with one shot. Woo! That's good. Onions are starting to get caramelized, but they're not getting burned yet. That's why I keep moving them. If you let them sit, the bottom's going to burn, the tops will get wet and kind of start getting liquidy and stuff like that, but they won't all brown evenly. So if you keep moving them around, it'll get all the sides cooked. And it's been about, I don't know, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. I'm going to toss in my garlic. And I'm going to get that moving as well. Frozen taco meat's not bad. I was more curious if you were inspired because I was doing this today, or if you guys were already planning on doing it on Friday. And this is totally optional. You don't have to do the onions and the garlic like this. I think it just adds that extra flavor to the meat. Also gives you a little bit more material to work with. So instead of being a 6-person meal, this can actually end up being like an 8-person meal. You can actually use all 12 of your taco shells with that pound of meat, instead of having those 2 left over at the end that it seems like we always have. So this is starting to get really, really, smells amazing. And it's starting to get a little bit brown, but not burned yet. So I'm going to make a little well in the center. You can see that I'm kind of opening it up. And that's where the meat's going to go. Don't need any oil. I got 80% fat meat. 20% fat meat, 80% lean. Toss that right in. That's going to release a lot of fluid, a lot of fat, and it's going to help cook. Steven, you know, I applied for MasterChef and they told me my story wasn't good enough. I was not a heroin addict. I did not have a broken family. My life was actually somewhat put together and my food was awesome. So I was not accepted because I didn't have a compelling story. Awesome, Mom. I'm glad I was able to inspire you guys to do tacos. I love tacos. I know you guys do too, so. Add a little bit of salt, not very much because the seasoning has salt in it. I was gonna make my own seasoning and then I got lazy. Like I said, efficient. That's what I got efficient, not lazy. So I bought this from the store. I'm gonna let that kind of sit and brown. And when I say brown, I don't mean gray, I mean actually brown. Don't need you anymore, don't need the spoon anymore, they're gonna go in the sink. Very cool. Since we're starting to get some weird shadows over here, I'm gonna turn on that light and see if that helps. Yeah, that looks warmer, awesome. Just gonna take my spatula here and just kind of go through crosswise. and just kind of break it up. It's already cut this way. It's already cut lengthwise because it came through the grinder that way. So you're just cutting it into smaller pieces. You don't have to worry too much about going the long ways, the way that the grind is running. It's more important to kind of go across that and break it up into smaller pieces. This handle is starting to get a little warm. Cast iron, that's just what happens. The entire pan gets hot, which is awesome because it holds heat very well. I'm just going to let that sit for a bit. I am going to grab a little cheat tool that I've got up here. Ha! Can't burn myself now. Awesome. Now that the bottom is nice and caramelized and brown, not gray, but brown, I'm going to start cutting it across the grain, or with the grain, I should say. And that's basically going to get you your nice ground beef texture. You'll notice I'm still not mixing anything in. I'm just kind of letting it sit and do its thing. And I'll start mixing it in just a second. It's important to get color, and color means flavor if you subscribe to Gordon Ramsay. Color on the meat, color on the onions and the garlic that you just mixed in as well. There we go. At this point, it's just a waiting game. You just gotta wait a couple minutes, let it brown a little bit. You might want to turn the heat up. The induction cooktop that I use has a pretty well regulated heat, so I don't have to worry too much about that. Who else is cooking with me? Are you guys all like just chilling and watching me cook? You guys want to talk about something while I wait for this to brown and look all tasty and yummy? Or you want me to just keep talking to myself? Because that's fine too. I'm going to start looking at some of these comments and see if there's anything that I missed. Scott's on beer 5. Hopefully beer 6 at this point. Otherwise you're slowing down from what I remember. Who uses this much toilet paper? Like I see my mom saying we've got TP. Who uses 2 like Costco-sized things of toilet paper? I'll go like if I get one of those things, that's 2 months worth of toilet paper for me. I don't know. Maybe I use less toilet paper than most people. Who knows? I don't understand that whole thing. Frozen pizza. Come on, Rachel. Sister, you could have come over here and gotten tacos. You talk just by texting. I can reply to all the messages here in chat. So, by all means, keep the conversation going. Michael, the market is actually not too bad. It's a little bit difficult. Yeah, just type. Everything that I see, I mean, people here can see too. So, it's in the stream. I'm sure you can see the chat as well. Yeah, Michael, the market is interesting right now. It's a little bit hard. We can't go out and do open houses on the weekends. We can't do any kind of showings. We can do private showings with ourselves. We have to go and do virtual tours and stuff like that. So if somebody wants to see a house, we actually have to go in with a phone, do a virtual tour, and show it that way. Not very easy for us to go in and actually show somebody a house. A lot of sellers right now are really worried about people coming in and touching stuff and getting, possibly getting coronavirus on stuff in the house. So all the showings are kind of private at the moment. Apart from that, if you're comfortable with technology, which I definitely am, and you're willing to just kind of go and do stuff for your buyers or your sellers, it's not too difficult to still buy and sell homes. I have several buyers that I'm working with who are still getting pre-approved, still going through the process. Everything is going smoothly. Lenders are still working because they can work from home. Our county is closed. The county recorder's office is closed, but they're allowing e-filings or e-recordings. So escrow can close and they can record it electronically, and all of that can still move forward the same as always. So if you are looking to buy or sell a house, it is definitely still something that you can do. And if you'd like to kind of sit and wait, that's also an option. But I'm still working. Other realtors in my office are still working. We're still closing transactions. All of that is moving forward as normal. So now I'm mixing the meat and the onions and the garlic and all of that. Hey, Restream says that I've achieved 100 messages. Yay, thanks Restream. I don't care. Yeah. Boom to you as well, my friend. Yeah, no touchy. Definitely don't touch stuff. That's kind of the thing. Like, people are worried about people touching other stuff. I totally understand it. That virus can supposedly live on surfaces for 96 hours, which is a pretty long time. And the simplest way to get rid of it is to just wash your hands with soap. I actually read a Facebook article about why soap works so well. So viruses are actually the way that they're constructed. They've got a lipid layer, and lipids are essentially what gets left on pans when you cook on them. And when you use Dawn soap or whatever, it breaks down the lipid layer. So if you use soap on your hands, you're literally just deconstructing the virus. So that's why that works so well. So all of this is kind of cooked. There is a lot of oil in here. I'm probably going to drain it. I'm just moving the meat out of the way to see how much oil is pooling. It's actually not that bad. I'm going to go ahead and just put in the seasoning and all of that. So what I'm going to do with the seasoning is I'm actually going to make another well, just like I did before with the meat. Just a little well here in the center. I'm going to pour the seasoning in there and let it kind of toast itself in that. And I'm also going to add water, so I'm going to grab that and get that ready. Do 3/4 cup of water. Good to go. I am going to drain that. Too much. Let me grab this. And a cup to drain it in. Just drain it into this. All right, I'll be right back after this is drained. Do, 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 do. All right. So one of the cool things about this induction cooktop is it turns itself off if the pan is off of it for too long. And so I'm going to do that and medium start. Drain meat back in. Night, Claire. Claire is my niece. She is awesome. All right, there we go. We'll make our well for the seasoning again. Yeah, this lasts me about 3 days. You got 12 tacos in the thing. I eat 3 or 4 a night. Usually 3. So it can last 3 or 4 days. I'll just use my knife to slice off the top. In onto the pan surface because that'll toast the seasoning. Garbage and garbage. Medium high. Get that going. Hydration. See, the problem is it's hard to stay hydrated, and by that I mean drink beer, while you're in the middle of cooking stuff. So I'm mixing the dry seasoning through the meat. And what that does is actually kind of helps cook the rest of the seasoning before you add water and start thickening it up. It also picks up any of the oil that you didn't drain out of the pan. So generally speaking, there's still going to be a little bit of a puddle of oil. what the seasoning does is it kind of helps sop that up. And then when you add the water, it just redistributes it through the meat. There we go. And water. I'm going to wait for the water to start boiling, and then I'm going to turn the temperature down so that it simmers. The pan was already pretty hot, so it's going to start boiling pretty quick. Just making sure I get it distributed nicely throughout the meat. Medium low, turn it up to just under medium. That will simmer and reduce and thicken up. There we go. So now at this point, I'm pretty much done with the meat. I'm just letting it kind of simmer, thicken up, basically get ready to serve. While I'm waiting for that to happen, I'm going to pull my guacamole and salsa back out of the fridge. These are more or less ready to go. If I'm cooking for a group, I'll usually put these together, I don't know, about an hour before I start cooking the meat, just to really give them a chance to kind of like meld together and really develop their flavor. Get those ready. While I'm waiting for this to kind of cook down, I will also get out my lettuce. So I've got some iceberg here. It's the only lettuce you should use for tacos. Just gonna half it. Half it again. So now I got 2/4. Take this one and just shred down the iceberg like this. There's my shredded lettuce. All done. You can also use cabbage. If you're doing fish tacos or if you're doing a veggie taco, you can use cabbage, you can use iceberg lettuce, whatever is what you're used to, whatever floats your boat. Turn that down a bit. Now that the lettuce is done, I'm actually going to flip this around so that you can see it. Presentation always makes food taste better. There we go. I'll leave that there for now. And we'll do the cheese next. Cheese grater. Sharp cheddar. Don't use extra sharp. It actually doesn't melt that well. Sharp is good. Medium is also good. Extra sharp is just a little bit too strong, I guess. Not sure if that's the right word. I'm just going to cut through this. A little bit of a block. Make it easier to shred it. There we go. Cut down this way, peel off the outside. Start with the corner and just go. Anything extra that falls onto the floor, your dog will get. My dog will definitely get. Or I guess you can go back with a broom later. Really up to you. There we go. Move the salsa back here. Cheese on the cutting board. grate a little bit more, waiting for this meat to finish cooking. Yeah, Lori, the sharper it gets, the more flavor it is, but also the less melty it gets. So mild is actually super melty. Medium, a little bit less so. Medium is usually like the lowest I'll go. Sharp is the best in my opinion. If you go extra sharp, it stops melting, it just kind of separates. And then you can get like the extra sharp. Same thing. The more sharp you get, the less melty it gets. And then just kind of get the cheese off of that. There we go. And put that into a little plastic bag later. Clean up the backside over here so that it looks like I'm a neat person, even though I'm not. Presentation is done. I don't need the salt anymore. Don't need these anymore. They're good. Meat's almost done. Gonna give this a quick stir. And there we go. Fiesta Friday, ready to go. At this point, I'm actually going to turn the cast iron off. It's going to hold enough heat to keep the meat warm. If you were having a party, if I had like 5 or 6 people here, it would stay warm for at least an hour. Get that tossed. And now, probably the most important thing, let's go through with a chip and make the salsa not look super flat. Kind of fluff it up. You can also use a fork, but the fork doesn't taste as good. Good salsa. Yep. And as a chef, of course, you get to eat first. Just kidding. I usually taste and then let everybody else go first. And then I eat after. Pop open our shells. If we can open up the shells. Must be smarter than the container. There we go. Out of the way. And Taco Tuesday, done. Fiesta Friday, done. If you use taco sauce, good to go. This is where I grab a plate and build a taco. So I just started using my, I just started using my bowl as a trash because I'm done with it. And I broke this guy, so I'm going to use him as a tostado later. But to demonstrate building the taco, I'll grab a fresh one that's not snapped in half, such as this. I do meat first. A little bit of meat. And since I'm eating by myself, I'm going to go ahead and reuse this. If you're serving this for other people, I would have different spoons for everything. Since I'm eating with myself, I don't care. I'm not going for the salsa first, but all I am going to do is put in a little bit of lettuce first. This gives a little bit of a buffer between the cheese and the meat. If you want your cheese to melt to the meat, do the cheese first. I like Taco Bell style where the cheese kind of stays separate. A little bit of cheese. And then what I do is guacamole first, a little bit of a layer. Scoop it in and then use the back of the spoon to flatten it out so that you get something like this. And then a little bit of salsa on top, like so. And then a little bit more cheese, almost as a garnish. You're really not trying to add any flavor or any extra cheese to this. It's just so that it looks like what you expect a taco to look like. And that's it. Taco. Done. Do it this way. Happy Fiesta Friday, everybody. Thanks for joining me on the stream. Let me know what I could have done to make this any better, or whether you guys want to see anything else. Next Friday, I'm planning on doing fettuccine Alfredo. I think that'll be a lot of fun. One of my friends recommended that, he said he likes doing that, and that seemed like a really good idea. So what I'm going to do is we're going to make pasta from scratch, and then make the fettuccine sauce from scratch. So pretty cool episode if you want to join me. You're very welcome, Lori. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you at the office, so just let me know if there was anything that I could have done to make this better. And apart from that, I'm going to eat my taco and enjoy the rest of my evening. Enjoy your evening. Thanks again for joining. Olé. All good.